worth it. It won't take quite an hour. You'll be delighted to know. Probably about half an hour, 40 minutes-ish. So without sort of further ado, I'll get started. Presumably everyone can hear me okay, and it's all clear. I'm not too loud or anything like that. So to get started, we're going to talk today about customer experience, or CX as it's known, within the context of safe care. And presumably quite a few of you here as funeral directors are already offering safe care to your clients, and some of you maybe not. Do feel free to make comments in the chat as we go along and let me know and ask any questions as well. So in terms of introduction, I'll keep that brief. So my name is Mark Binnersley. I'm SAFE's PR provider. I've been working with the organisation for just over 12 months now on a regular basis, and I help with a range of sort of communications tasks, from proactive campaigns, reactive PR. So we did all the sort of responses to the CMA stuff, and also some crisis PR. And recently we had a SAFE member who was approached by a newspaper for a comment on a story about a client who had got a complaint. We managed to kill that story, so it hasn't, touch wood, appeared in the paper. It would have been quite damaging for their business. So it's that kind of thing that I do. And I also sort of help with sort of marketing and so on. So in terms of my background, I've been in PR and journalism for the past 20 years-ish. Worked on regional newspapers with a national news agency in China, in PR for a hospice, which is where I first sort of ventured into the end-of-life death care sort of sector, as it were. Worked for a couple of PR agencies. Then I went for the National Association of Funeral Directors between 2016 and 2017, and that's where I got my introduction to the funeral profession. And 2 years ago, I set up on my own. So I also work for a couple of funeral directors and a coffin manufacturer. So in terms of marketing communications for your business, why it's important? Well, a lot of the big groups have invested a lot of money in certainly their digital appearance or digital presence rather online. And the online space is where consumers are increasingly looking to research brands and help them make informed decisions about purchases. So it's important that independent funeral directors are online promoting themselves as well. And then in terms of customer experience, and I'll explain the difference shortly about the difference between that and customer service, the customer experience is really important because it can help create advocates for your business. So we'll talk about that in detail shortly. So enough about me. So customer experience in the context of safe care. So what is safe care? For those of you who don't know, so it's a free bereavement service for your clients. It's provided by a partner of SAFE's called Professional Help, led by Catherine Betley. And they provide email, telephone, webcam, and face-to-face support. And they do up to 6 face-to-face counselling sessions. Now, it's really important to make the distinction to clients that although they're entitled up to six face-to-face sessions, they might not need that many. So it's important not to build hopes that that's what they necessarily need. I've heard stories of some people saying, "I want my 6 sessions," but actually they might only need 1. So it's important to sort of help people understand how it can work. And then in terms of the cost to your business, it's free to your clients, but there's a small subscription, we say small, on top of your membership fees. And we could see this as an investment in your customer experience. And it's also a value added service. So it's taking you as a service provider beyond delivering a funeral. So I see we've got Susan typing now. I'll keep an eye on that and answer any question you've got. So hopefully that is clear on safe care if you don't know what it is already. So what clients say about it, and this is important in terms of customer experience. So I would like to thank Safe Care for the care I was given at an incredibly difficult period in my life. I found the counselling a bit of a lifesaver. I had no knowledge of counselling before this, but would now recommend it to other people. It got me through an unbearable time that I could see no way out of. So those are, I think, are really powerful. Right, thank you, Richard. We'll come to that shortly. We've got that in this presentation. So good stuff. So I think what are really interesting here are points 2 and 3. So I found the counselling a bit of a lifesaver. Can you imagine your clients telling their friends about, you know, a service you provided being a lifesaver? That is going to stand your business in amazing stead. And then secondly, I had no knowledge of counselling before this, but would now recommend it to other people. So that's somebody saying, I'm now going to go out and recommend this service as provided by so-and-so funeral director that I used after mum died or dad died. So you've got, you know, the beginnings there of, you know, some idea as to how Safe Care will enhance your customer experience and turn your clients into advocates. So we've got so we've got a comment from Susan there. So, right, okay. Well, we can look into that for you, Susan. In terms of that feedback, there may be a good reason for that. It's important to say that I don't deliver Safe Care myself, but I'm just talking about how it could be of use to you in terms of enhancing your customer experience. Obviously, that issue might be opposite to that, but we'll talk to you about that later on. So, in terms of the next slide, what funeral directors say about it, and we've got a video here of Ross Hickson, who some of you may know, and hopefully this will. Just let me know if you can't hear this when it plays.
What do you like about Safe Care?
Safe Care, I love the fact that Safe Care is able to provide free bereavement support to our clients at their time of need. Other bereavement support providers at the moment, unfortunately, have got a 6 to 12 month waiting list. As we know, Safe Care can speak to clients at the drop of a hat within 2 to 3 days. I also like the fact that we can refer clients over to yourself and you can contact them at a date and point in time which is comfortable for the client.
I think that's really important, that thing about point of need. And we do, as you say, we speak to the client very quickly from when you've referred them to us, and we can usually match them with a counsellor if that's what they require within, say, a week or less. And from a business perspective, what difference does it make to you, do you think?
Well, from a business point of view, obviously our families entrust us to care for their loved ones. We need to give a bereavement support group which we trust, obviously with a safe name attached to it. We know we can trust Safe Care to look after our clients. It's also a good PR point of view for us that as a local independent funeral director, we're caring about our clients and offering free bereavement support sessions as part of our services at no additional cost.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. And we do hear a lot from our clients when we get feedback at the end of the work that we do with them. They say, I think it's brilliant that funeral directors offer this. It's so unusual. So it does give you that extra standout point, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it does, definitely. And the feedback we've had from our clients who've used your service, they've all praised it and said how good it is. I've had 2 members of my staff who've also used it for bereavements in their families, and they've been able to say how good it is, and obviously then pass that knowledge and experience onto the clients they're dealing with who've lost their mum or dad or loved one recently they're arranging the funeral for. So that first-hand experience, that one-to-one talking that someone's actually used your service and they can recommend it to the person they're dealing, arranging the funeral for, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. And from your perspective, you can be assured that, you know, we're checking the counsellors, making sure that they've got all the right qualifications and all the right supervision and insurance and so on, so you know that your clients are in safe hands, really.
Yeah, so, it's complete peace of mind. Safe Care is a fantastic service.
That's brilliant. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so hopefully that video of Ross at the NFE was useful as well. So just going back to the presentation now, So thanks for your comment, Richard. I will talk to you about that offline if that's okay. From my understanding, and the funeral directors that I talk to, they're saying it's invaluable, but we'll perhaps continue that conversation later. So in terms of the next slide on customer experience, so defining the difference between that, this is a good definition in my opinion. So if you book a restaurant on the phone and the person you're speaking with is friendly and helpful, that's good customer service. But if your name's printed on the menu and they sit you in a prime location in the restaurant, then that's good customer experience. So you can see the difference here. So it's the same with sort of offering bereavement counselling, and particularly if it's free. You're going beyond delivering funerals and being helpful. You're actually really adding value to a client and showing them that you care beyond the funeral itself. So in terms of how it's beneficial to your business, so CX, customer experience, so 50% of consumers are promoters, according to research by some of the biggest specialists in customer experience, so Walker, Gartner, HubSpot. 79% of customer experience leaders have engaged employees. So the employees have really got to be sort of bought into delivering good customer experience. So right from your arrangers to bearers, drivers, and so on. And in terms of revenue increases, so 84% of firms who invest in this. So again, the Safe Care subscription could be seen as an investment. These firms report revenue increases. And a large proportion of firms, I think it's around 90%, are now competing on customer experience as opposed to price and product. And this is really important for the funeral sector at a time where you've got the discounters or firms coming in and saying funerals from 1,800 when we know that they're going to be a lot more than that by the time the client's finished. So why it's business beneficial? Well, some research by Genesis here talks about the different reasons that businesses pay attention to or invest in customer experience. So 42% are doing it to retain customers, a third are doing it to improve satisfaction, and another third roughly are doing it to increase the chances to cross-sell and upsell. So obviously you've got to be a bit careful in the funeral sector about this, but if you've got a good customer experience, perhaps through something like bereavement counselling, and you're keeping a relationship going with that client afterwards, then maybe they could be looking to buy memorial tribute products, maybe some of the jewelry, that kind of thing down the line. So those are the benefits of customer experience. So in terms of approaching customer experience, it's important to have a strategy to do this. And this one, there's loads online out there in terms of how to develop a strategy, some of the points you should look out for. And this is one I particularly like, and I think it's relevant to the funeral sector. So firstly, reachability. So what channels is your business active on? Are you using the internet to good effect? Are you using social media channels to talk to clients, prospective clients, and people in your communities? Are you advertising on social media channels? You're going beyond those organic posts, the posts that you just write on your Facebook page, to actually paying for advertising, because it's worth looking at if you're not. Service convenience. So can your customers self-serve? So this could be interesting for the funeral profession. So in terms of your website, are people able to submit ideas for funeral arrangements, different elements that they would like for their funeral? Can they purchase elements of the funeral online? So that's another way that you could make your service much more convenient. And then we've got purchase convenience. So this is really important. So in terms of your payment methods, are your clients able to pay for your funerals in a way that they like? So are you offering different payment methods, from bank transfers to cash, checks, card payments, and so on? If you've got a limited number of payment methods in this day and age, then you could be causing friction in the purchase process. So, and perhaps this one is the most important one for the funeral sector: personalization. And increasingly, we're seeing people want a more personal element to funerals. And if you're not giving people that option, then you could be missing out to those that are. So are people able to personalize the service themselves with your assistance? And then ease of use. So is the customer journey bogged down or straightforward? So are you keeping people informed of the process along the way, what to expect in terms of next steps in a funeral arrangement? Are you able to communicate, or are they able to communicate with you easily by phone, or their preferred sort of method of communication? And then channel flexibility. So, keeping a history of behavior, transactions, and conversations. So if somebody's contacted you on Facebook, why not ask them, is that how they prefer to talk to you? Or, would they want to talk to you by email or phone from that method onwards? If they want to carry on talking to you by Facebook, then it makes sense to let them do that if you can. So, and this goes back to, I think, what Richard wanted to know about. So in terms of promoting your offering, so there's sort of 5 elements here that we're going to talk about briefly. So we've got website, social media, traditional media, client feedback and reviews, and events. So the first one, your website. So nowadays, your website is the threshold in many ways to your business. Traditionally, it's seen as the front door on the high street, or wherever your funeral directing premises is. But nowadays, you need to be aware that people are researching your business online and finding out about you. So if your website doesn't really reflect your values in the way that maybe your building does, then I think you're doing your business a disservice here. So it's important to have a good, user-friendly, contemporary website to promote your business and help people understand what it's about. And in terms of that, talking about services like Safe Care gives people a real insight into what your business is about. Does it care about much more than just delivering funerals? Is there something more to you that really stands you apart from your competitors? And then if you're talking about things like Safe Care and value-added stuff, people will stay on your site for longer. It will help your search engine optimization because it's interesting content as opposed to plain services. So it's all value-added, useful stuff. So it's important to get this onto your website and make sure your website is up to date in terms of its user friendliness. Then the next one, social media. So this is essential, and it's a great place to talk about services, your customer experience, and monitor what people are saying about you online. So Facebook is probably the prime channel for funeral directors. It's where communities are. It's where ordinary people are. Well, it's a matter of opinion, but Facebook is your main channel. You could talk about Safe Care on here. You could post videos on here about Safe Care, like we did at the NFE, and that got over 1,500 views. And then you've got YouTube. So again, video. I think there's sort of something like 3 billion YouTube searches a month. So it's one of the biggest search engines out there. So it makes sense to get videos of the things you're doing in your funeral home, such as Safe Care. Just do a 30-second video. No need to talk for 5 minutes. It'll be enough to engage people and give them an insight as to what you're about, and why you're doing something like Safe Care to improve your customer experience. Because we know that the pain of losing someone doesn't stop after the funeral, and sometimes people need care and support, and we're doing that for free because we really care about our clients. What a great message is that. And then Twitter, this is really the sort of political industry space, and it's a great platform to show how you're a thought leader on things like customer experience in the funeral sector. So those are the 3 channels I would have, and I would link as much as possible to your website using those channels to get people going to visit your site and learn more about your business. And then there's local media. So here are 3 cuttings here, and there are a few more out there of stories about Safe Care as being offered by some of Safe's independent funeral director members. We have got a template release for Safe Care, which we can tailor, or you can tailor, or we can help you tailor according to your own business for your local media. And we find that the media is interested in this kind of stuff, and they will publish it. And what's more, they will publish it online. So it's helping your search engine optimization. It's increasing traffic to your website. It gives you content to share on your social media as well. And again, it's telling people, it's a third party telling people about your brilliant customer experience that you're offering at your funeral directing business. And if you did want any assistance with distribution of the release, then feel free to contact me. My email is at the end of the presentation, and you're very welcome to get in touch with me anytime if you want some help and support with that. So you've had website, social media, local media so far. The next one, this is a bit analog, but it's still really important in my opinion. Face-to-face. Go to your village fetes, village fairs, business networking events, any other community groups, go and talk at a WI meeting or any of the local societies where they're looking for speakers. Probably bite your hand off and talk about Safe Care or any other, great customer experience that you're promoting or offering. It's a good chance to talk about what you do in a non-promotional way, though. So you're showing that you care rather than it's not you're not selling funerals, as it were. So local events, go along and make your presence known at those. The next one, client feedback. So funeral directors I work with, certainly the ones that I've seen have amazing client feedback and would be the envy of any business. The feedback is a gold mine. Make the most of it. Obviously anonymize it or use people's names if clients are happy for you to do that. Get it online, show people how much of an impact you're making in their lives at a difficult time. Get reviews on Google and Facebook, your website, and other platforms there are for reviewing funeral directors about Safe Care and the service you provide. And then showing how great you are on delivering quality and a good customer experience. You can worry a bit less about having to compete on price. You're competing on quality then. And people are really receptive to that. And as I said earlier, all the big brands are investing in customer experience, or CX. It is really the new marketing. We live in a social media age, and people are out there advocating for businesses when they think things have gone well. They're obviously criticizing them when they think things have gone badly. But get it right, get your customer experience right, and people will talk about you in a positive way online. And that sort of third-party endorsement is the best form of promotion that you can possibly have, because it's credible. So that is it. It was short and sweet, about half an hour, perhaps just under. But I hope that gives you an idea of how you could use Safe Care as an element of your customer experience, and how you might go about developing a customer experience strategy to promote your business. So how much does Safe Care cost? I think Joanna might be able to assist on that. That's not an area, but it's not a massive amount in my understanding. But I think it's well worth it from the feedback that I'm seeing from funeral directors who are using it, and it does stand you apart. So we've got a few more people typing there. and I'll hang around for a second to see what those questions are. But my email address is there. So Richard, it is free to your customers via the Funeral Director subscription. That's right. So it doesn't cost your clients anything. That's right. It's free for the bereaved person. And that is the beauty of it, really. Are you getting professional accredited bereavement counsellors? I think at last count there are just over 400 funeral homes in the UK offering this, which is somewhere between 5 and 10%. I will contact you after. I'll find that out for you, Kevin, in terms of the question on how much it costs for FDs. But it's something that the Safe Business Centre will be able to assist with. So it's is it a retainer at need? So it isn't a massive amount. So I think it's an opt-in to your subscriptions. Well, so the bereavement triangle, so it's supported by local church and volunteers, it's community centric. That sounds a really good scheme. I mean, if it gets you, in front of people and they understand that you're doing much more than funerals to help people, then that's all to the good. Thanks, Joanna. It's invaluable having someone on the delivery side here. The thing that I've sort of found from my conversations with the people delivering safe care is that the idea of 6 face-to-face sessions, it sounds amazing, but not everybody needs that, and it might be a phone conversation or some other form of advice which is what they need. But having that, knowing that there is somebody who's able to support them face-to-face on a number of times is really useful. And then if you do start offering safe care or any other type of sort of bereavement support post-funeral, it's worth looking at, the annual calendar of bereavement-related events, and then tying, your messaging content on social media, on your website, and so on, to those events. So whether it's something around remembrance, or maybe it's even, Christmas could be a difficult time for people who are bereaved, maybe the first anniversary, and so on. So you could use those types of landmark events to talk about the bereavement support that you offer online. for making a calendar of social media content, planning ahead. It really makes it so much easier. Good comment there, Richard. Yeah, and Richard, if you want any kind of support or advice on how you might position that on your website or social media channels, I'd be delighted to talk to you and give you my thoughts. There's no charge for that. Do feel free to drop me a line on that email address. As same to anybody on the webinar today. Are there any sort of further questions or comments from people? Indeed, yeah, and the beauty of the technology for independent funeral directors, in terms of competing, is that it's free, mostly, apart from your sort of your advertising, but even that is extremely good value. So you could do some really good brand awareness activity on Facebook for as little as £5 a day, and you can switch it on and off at any time. So it's worth experimenting with. Even if you spent 30 quid and gave it a try, it's not going to be massively sort of expensive for you. And because you're in the communities, you've got that advantage over the big groups who have a remote marketing department in a big city somewhere in the UK, but you've got that local knowledge. And you know who local contacts are, so you can share content with them and share their content. Whereas some of the big groups, they're not going to know who is an important community influencer in, say, somewhere in Gloucester. But if you're an independent funeral director in that city, then you certainly will. So you've got a real advantage here with the technology, and I'd say use it as much as you can. And just make sure that your website is user-friendly, is up to date, and is able to, provide a good customer journey, because that is where people are looking these days. So another question here. So is the Safe Care a 24-hour counselling service? So is Joanna or Catherine maybe might be able to answer that. Great. We've got a couple of more people still typing there. So. Thank you, Richard. Thanks for joining us, and I hope that was useful. And like I say, do drop me a line if you need any further information on the sort of marketing side of things. Great. Well, if there are no further questions, I'll bring this to a close. Thanks ever so much, everybody, for joining us today. I hope that's useful. Like I say, do contact me on hello@markbinnersley.co.uk for any further information on the marketing side. I know Catherine and Jana, thanks, Catherine, are available and very accessible on the Safe Care side, as is the Safe Business Centre. So if you've got any queries between us, we'll be able to get you the answer you need. So thanks again for joining us, and I'm going to switch off now. Thanks a lot. Cheers.